Welcome everybody to my driver ratings for the 2026 Hungarian Grand Prix. As per usual, on a Monday, we hop on the stream on Twitch and we review everything from the Grand Prix weekend. We look at the highlights, we look at the drivers' reactions, we look at the Discord, at all the news and memes. We look at F1 Fantasy and F1 Predict, and then we end the stream on both Twitch and YouTube, where we rate the drivers out of 10. We talk about their performances. We go in reverse finishing order, so let's get on into it. Now, as per usual, I rate the drivers based off their performances in qualifying and the race. There will be a poll up on screen for you guys to vote in, so let's get into it. Starting with the bums, who I don't even want to talk about, but we have to. Excuse me. Valtteri Bottas. Poll is up on the screen. This is how the polls are going to look throughout all of the ratings. What you have to do is type a number in Twitch chat, and it will pop up on the poll for you to rate. So, Bottas in qualifying. Out-qualified Perez once again by 5 tenths. Was 2 tenths behind Lance Stroll. It's nice to see Cadillac closing in on the midfield, but they're still a little bit behind. And then in the race, he got a mechanical failure on lap 13 and had to retire. So I think we're going to give Bottas an inconclusive. Even though he beat Perez in qualifying, he wasn't able to do the race and prove that he could beat Perez in race pace. So I'm going inconclusive. Majority of you guys are going 5. I don't know how you can rate him based off of not having any race laps, but fair enough. Let's bum out these two bums, because thankfully we only have 2 bums now. No, we don't have 4 bums anymore. We just have 2. Ask them to step themselves up. And the other bum is Sergio Perez. What do you rate Sergio's weekend out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. So Perez got out-qualified by his teammate by 5 tenths, which was very disappointing for Perez's standards. And then in the race, he DNF'd, but it was on lap 48. Prior to his DNF, he was running around in last, 15 seconds behind Albon. Didn't really have his teammate to compare him to. But yeah, as per usual with the Cadillacs, you are only compared to your teammate. Yes, we couldn't compare him to his teammate in in the race, but we did have him in quali. So I'm going to give him a 4. I think he was doing okay in the race prior to the retirement. But yeah, obviously getting out-qualified by your teammate, that's all you need to do at the moment. So, and it was pretty bad as well. 5 tenths down. Yikes. Majority of you guys agreeing on a 4 for him. Okay, we can finally move on to some interesting drivers. Even though he retired, one of the drivers of the weekend. Well, we'll see. Oscar Piastri. What do you rate Oscar Piastri's weekend out of 10? Now, this is an interesting one. Actually, what are you guys saying about Bottas and stuff first? Okay, so Piastri in qualified P5. He got out-qualified by 2 tenths by Antonelli, 2 tenths by Leclerc, 4 tenths by Lewis, and most importantly, 4 tenths by his teammate. Now, he did out-qualify Max Verstappen, who spun. He did out-qualify George Russell. Now, George Russell did get impeded, and he did out-qualify Isaac Hadjar. But to have not beaten Kimi Antonelli, despite Kimi Antonelli getting impeded on the last lap, and again, being 4 tenths off your teammate, it's not great. Again, it's not bad. It's not terrible. He's still in the mix. But 4 tenths off your teammate is not great. And then in the race. Now, this is where I think the rating is a bit of a weird one, because he did his job. He got past Lando off the start. Lando made a mistake. He put the pressure on. He capitalized on the mistake, and he held the lead all the way to lap 40, right? We spoke about this during the review portion of the stream, but I don't think you can look at Piastri's race and be like, oh, well, he wouldn't have won anyway because of the pace. But he was holding off Lando. He was doing his job. He got past, and he was doing his job. The team obviously saw Lando's pace, and Lando wanted to pit, so instead they pitted Piastri first. That was Lando's time to prove that he was quicker. And I think Piastri actually did a pretty decent stint. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but I think it was going to be enough to still hang on to the lead. We'll never know, because obviously Carlos Sainz pushed him off track. He then lost the lead because of that. And then his pace completely fell off. I think he dropped 15 seconds behind Lando, if I'm not mistaken.
G'day. With understand.
Kim, shut your mouth. I think he dropped 15 seconds behind Lando prior to his retirement. Or maybe that's an exaggeration. Nope, that was 15 seconds behind Lando before his retirement. So, yeah. Not great in terms of race pace. But yeah, engine failure at the end of the day. To be honest, I think Oscar's had a good weekend. I think, again, if it wasn't for signs, I think he would have at least battled for the win, and I think he probably could have hung on for the win. And at the end of the day, he would have done his job. But at the end of the day, a scenario is thrown at him where he wasn't able to hold on to the lead, and his pace completely fell off. So I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a 7 or a 6. Like, it's one of those things where, like, he should have hung on to the lead, and he probably would have hung on to the lead and won, but something happened to him, and he had the opportunity to stay with Lando and battle Lando just like Lando did, but he just didn't have the pace. Combined with his poor qualifying, I feel like there's going to be a 6.5. I don't know. It really depends how you look at this. You can look at this and be like, well, he could have won. He should get a higher rating. But I also look at that of like, well, every driver gets things thrown at them, where it's Lando who made a mistake, or you know, drivers getting caught up with their team. At the end of the day, Piastri did lose out, and he had no pace to recover. But at the end of the day, he still probably would have got P2. So, yeah, maybe it is a 7. Maybe it is a 7. Like, P2 is still solid. Maybe we're being too hard. I think if he had a finish... Yeah, actually, 7's fair. He did a good job. He would have finished P2. He probably could have won if it wasn't for the signs thing, which probably would have bumped it up to an 8. I think a 7's fair. I think a 7's fair. What do you guys think? Did Oscar also get impeded? His race pace was so bad, but I can't give him more than a 7. Yeah, I don't think it's more than a 7 because his race pace was absolutely exposed. What's up, Rachel? And welcome to the stream. Easy 8. He got impeded in quali and had a great race. Did he get impeded in quali? Oh, he did get impeded in quali. True. I forgot he got impeded in quali as well. I don't even think he would have gotten P2 if his car didn't break, because Max and Kimi were, Lewis and Kimi were all catching. Maybe, we'll never know. Borderline average weekend, quali was awful, and I don't think he would have qualified. Yeah, I forgot he got impeded in qualifying as well. I'm going to keep it as a 7. I think it's a hypothetical 7. It's a, what we saw was good. A P2 would have been good. Maybe it would have ended up being a 6 if he didn't retire, but then it probably could have been an 8. If he had have not got impeded by signs. We'll never know. We'll never know. So I think I'm going to keep it at a 7. Majority of you guys agreeing on a 7 as well. I'm not going to lie. This next driver, I actually have no clue what the fuck happened to him this weekend. I don't think I even saw a single clip of this man. Well, we did see him spin. But I don't think I saw a clip of him anywhere else this weekend, even in the media. Ollie Behrman, what do you rate Ollie out of 10? So Ollie in quali, he got out-qualied by Ocon by 2/10. He went out in Q1. So he got out-qualified by Alonso by 1/10. And again, by his teammate by 2/10. Now, he did out-qualify the Williams, which he's done his job there. He's out-qualified Stroll, which is, I mean, given where the Aston Martin is, like, good. And then out-qualified the Cadillacs. Other than that, he was bottom of that kind of midfield. Well, second bottom if you don't include Stroll. Second of that kind of midfield group. Yeah. Just not great in qualifying there for Behrman. And then in the race, he ended up 2 laps down. He finished behind the Williams. Can someone explain what happened? He had the spin, but like, why was he so far down on his teammate the whole race? I guess he's 3 seconds out of Ocon there. But how did he end up 2 laps down? Okay, he's 20 seconds behind Ocon at one point. And he's a lap down. Is it just traffic? And he finished the race 38 seconds behind Ocon. Wait. Why on the race results does it say he finished behind the Williams? But then on the highlights, he finished ahead of the Williams. He got a penalty for ignoring blue flags. Yeah. I think this is a 3 weekend. Sorry, Ollie. Out-qualified by a teammate by 2/10. Went out in Q1. Slower than on an Aston Martin. Lack of race pace, and then an incident costing you to finish behind the slowest cars that finished the race. Not great. We'll give you a 3. I mean, it could probably be lower than a 3 because of the spin. But I guess you weren't doing too bad in the race. Ollie's poorest weekend, but the blue flags being broken didn't help. Yeah, true. Most invisible driver of the weekend. He won't see Ferrari with such mere weekends. Yeah, weekends like that are going to cost him in the future, potentially. Roffy, David the follow. Majority of you guys saying 3, so we agree on that. Oh, guys, let's use our brains here. Let's actually rate with our brains here, right? Don't use our emotions. Carlos Sainz. What do we rate Carlos Sainz this weekend? Out of 10. So, Carlos in qualifying. He out-qualified Albon by a few milliseconds, but they did get absolutely slam dunked by the midfield teams. They did out-qualify. He did out-qualify Stroll. Given where the Aston Martin was this weekend, that was pretty good. But, yeah, I think that Williams was poo, man. That Williams was absolute poo. He did out-qualify his teammate. Then, in the race, I think he dropped behind Albon pretty early on. I could be mistaken. No, he was ahead of Albon, actually. He was ahead of Albon basically the whole race. And then, yeah, so he's ahead of Albon the whole race. And then at some point, I think he pit or did an extra pit stop. And then caused that problem with Piastri. Look, if I could rate him out of 10, I'd give him a 0 if I was rating it off of how I feel right now. But yeah, ended up finishing behind Albon, having an incident which I think should have been penned more. And yeah, was just racing Alonso for the back of the grid. I guess it was on the back of the grid considering where Alonso finished, but yeah, Sainz obviously just pissed me off this weekend. I need to try and not rate with passion though, but I think it's a 4, man. I think it's a 4. Like, I'd give him lower, give him what he did, but obviously we're rating performance. He did out-qualify his teammate. He was out-racing his teammate. In the end, he finished behind his teammate. Maybe it's a 3.5. Maybe it's a 3.5. Albon's with Oscar, but a boring weekend, so easy 3 or 4. 4 because of the raging Piastri was, as if ignoring the incident, he'd get a good rating. Before Penn, he was ahead. Oscar incident was so bad, I have to deduct 8 grades for that, so a 2. 4 is too high, give her a 3. Yeah, I think we'll go 3.5, I think. I think they beat Albon. And he was beating Albon in race pace, and he beat Albon in quali, so. But the incident does demote him down for sure. Majority of you guys saying 4 or 1. Alright, next up, we have got Alex Albon. What do you rate Albon's weekend out of 10? So Albon got qualified by Sainz only barely. Both of them getting both of them out qualifying Stroll, but getting out qualified by Behrman. I think that was where the Williams would have qualified anyway. That car was poo. Albon's race pace slacked on Sainz, but he did finish ahead in the end because of Sainz fucking around. So I feel like I'm gonna give Albon the same rating as Sainz, like point lower because he did worse than Sainz, even though they're quite close. But then the same as Sainz because Sainz is getting demoted for incident. So. I don't know. I feel like it's probably around the same. David the stream today. I hope it's not been too stressful during evening and week. Appreciate extra snipes. Catch you later, dude. I don't know if you remember me, but I met you at the Fanatic store on Thursday. I was the guy with the tote bag. Yo, good to see you, Forza Turismo. I do remember. Of course, you and your little brother. You guys asked for a pic. That was nice. That was nice. I appreciate you guys saying what's up. So many people come in my chat and be like, I saw you. And then they just don't even chat to me. But did you end up pulling any more rare cards from your tote bag? Oscar was so bad when I read that. Amazing time at a time that then the rating is just about to start. No, I saw it. Oh, he typed in YouTube chat as well. What is that? What's up, Matt 1, Lorenz, good to see you, dude. Tycho, hello. Okay, majority of you guys saying 3 for Albon. Yeah, a lot of these drivers are kind of just like, I don't know. They're kind of not battling anyone. Ocon, what do you rate Ocon's weekend out of 10? I actually think Ocon had a good weekend. I'm not going to lie. Ocon out-qualified his teammate by 2/10. He also out-qualified Alonso. Given where Behrman qualified, I think Ocon's done a good job there. Now, he was 6/10 off a board letter in front of him. But still, I think Ocon's done his job. He's qualified where he should. So nice. And then in the race, he's finished in P16. He has been beaten by both Astons, which isn't great, but he's finished 40 seconds up the road from Behrman. He's beaten the Williams boys. I think he's done okay, man. I think he's actually done okay this weekend. I'd probably give him like a 6. Like, he's beaten his teammate in the race in quali. He's put the car where it should be in quali. Probably put the car where it should be in the race. It's one of those things, we don't see the back of the field, so maybe I should be sitting here being like, oh, you should have been in the Astons, but I don't know, I think the Astons did a very different strategy, so I think at the end of the day, he's had a decent weekend. I don't think it's anything crazy. I think it's more Behrman having a poor weekend, but still, I think 6 makes sense in my mind. I'm going to shoot back a relic. Ooh! Like an actual relic or a manufactured relic? Like, is it a gold or is it a part of his suit? Madsil Storm. Slooness. What is up, guys? Welcome to the stream. Did Haas any upgrades at all this year? I don't think they have, right? Manufactured one. Still, that's nice, man. That's nice. Majority of you guys saying 6, so we agree on 6 for Ocon. Then we have got Franco Colapinto. What do you rank Franco's weekend out of 10? If you're just tuning into the stream, we've got a poll up in chat. All you have to do is type in Twitch chat the number, and it will pop up on the poll. Let me just stand up now. So Franco in qualifying, got out qualified by his teammate by 2/10. I think the Alpines qualified where they should be. If anything, they actually did better because they out-qualified Bortoletto, who I think should have been above them. But yeah, the Alpines qualified where they should be. Franco did get out-qualified by his teammate though. And then in the race, I think that's where he kind of lost a little bit. He ended up finishing behind both Aston Martins and his teammate. And he actually ended up finishing 22, 32, 34 seconds behind his teammates. So yeah, again, he's not done bad. He's not finished like way out of place, but behind the Astons and 34 seconds down your teammate isn't amazing. And yeah, Quali has kind of done his job. So I don't know, I feel like it's like a 4.5. Like it's a below average weekend because you're race pace and being out qualified by your teammate, but you're still kind of qualified where you should be. So I feel like it's a 4.5 at the end of the day. How does the system collect grades? Once you type in chat, pops up on the poll. I honestly expected the Alpine to be faster. Well, Alpine started off the season really strong, and I think they're just like lacked on the upgrades. I wonder if they're going to bring some. Mad Seldomstrom. Thank you for the follow, dude. Well on the stream. Majority of you guys said 5, so we basically kind of agree on that. I think I can't give Colapinto an average weekend when you're that slow to your teammate. So, yeah. Kind of agreeing on that one. Kind of agreeing. All right, finally, for the first time this year, we can actually rate the Aston Martin boys. Starting off with Fernando Alonso. What do you rate Alonso's weekend out of 10? So, Alonso in qualifying out-qualified his teammate by 5/10. He also out-qualified both Williams, which is, I think, expected given where Williams was this weekend, but also Ollie Behrman. He was only 1/10 off of Esteban Ocon. So, yeah, I think Alonso's done his job. I think maybe there's an argument he should have out-qualified Ocon, but it's hard to tell where that Aston is at the moment. Is Alonso overdriving the car, or is he driving it where it should be, and he was disappointing in comparison to Ocon? Hard to tell, but he's still done a really good job in quali, I think. And then in the race, he's finished in P14. He's finished ahead of Franco on the Alpine and Ocon in the Haas, and Behrman in the Haas. But he's finished behind his teammate. Not sure how that's happened. He's actually finished 2.5 seconds down on his teammate. Does anyone know why? Why he's been beaten by his teammate? Yeah, 8 for Alonso when he's been beaten by his teammate. Guys, we've got to remember that car is where it should be. You know, in the race, I think that Aston's finished exactly where it should be. Actually, 1 position higher because it's beating Colapinto. Maybe 2 positions higher because it's beating Ocon as well. But yeah, he did half the race on top. Yeah, true. How did Alonso finish behind Stroll? Yeah, I don't get that. Different strategy because Stroll's the GOAT. Pit stops, Shipbot Master is back. I told him try a chat. I'll give Fernando an 8. I don't think it should be an 8 personally. I mean, quality was good actually. Quality was good, but I think again maybe he could have been an Ocon race. Yeah, I think he's finished the position he should in the race, but he's been beaten by his teammate. I feel like this is a 7.5. I feel like this is a 7.5. I feel like quali could have done a little bit better on Ocon, so maybe like bump that up like 0.5, and then in the race should have beaten his teammate, so bump that up 1, especially with where Stroll started. So yeah, I think that's where he's lacking. Yeah, I think 7.5 is fair. I think 7.5 is fair. He gifted that place because he's so generous. He was gaining on Stroll at the end too. They always screw the strat over. 10, he finished 14th in the shit box. No, that car had major upgrades. But in the midfield, Fernando. But how great is it? We can grade Astons again. Yeah, finally. I think I go 7.5. I'm going 7.5. We're split between 7 and 8 on the poll, so that's perfect. And then we have got Lance Stroll. What do you rate Lance's weekend out of 10? So again, Stroll got out-qualified by his teammate by 5/10, which is pretty disappointing. And then also getting out-qualified with Shitbox Williams and Behrman. So yeah, really disappointing in qualifying. However, in the race, he's managed to move his way up to P13. So that's 8 positions. No, sorry, 7 positions. Yeah, beating Ollie, beating the Williams, beating Ocon, beating Franco as well, and beating his teammate. I actually think he's had really solid race pace to finish there. So I'm going to go 7.5, even though he's finished ahead of Alonso and... yeah, finished ahead of Alonso. I think, obviously, his qualifying pace sucked, and I think they were on different strategies. So I'm going to go 7.5. Maybe even an 8. I don't know. At the end of the day, race is more important. He's finished ahead of Alonso, so maybe I'll go 8. Maybe I'm going to go 8 here. Maybe I'm going to go 8. He's finished ahead of Alonso in the race. I'll go 8. I'll go 8. At the end of the day, they've done a good job. They've finished exactly where they should be. And they've done better than they should because they've beaten Colapinto and Ocon. So, I don't know. I think 8 for Lance makes sense. I think given Stroll's standards, that's why Alonso gets a 7.5. Dana, what is up? Welcome to the stream. Right, majority gets an 8 as well. A bit of a quiet weekend for this man. We've got Pierre Gasly. What do you rate Gasly's weekend out of 10? Yeah, Gasly in qualifying, out-qualified his teammate by 2/10, and qualified exactly where he should be. You know, P12 behind the VCARs, behind Audi, actually ahead of Bortoleto, so he's done a good job there, beating his teammate, beating Bortoleto. However, in the race, losing out to Bortoleto, beating his teammate comfortably by 34 seconds. His race pace was good, and only finishing 1 second behind Bortoleto, only 2 seconds behind Arvid Lindblad. I actually think Gasly's actually had a solid weekend. Nothing too crazy. I actually think he's had a solid weekend. I'm going to give him a 7.5. Just like Alonso. Beat his teammate in quali. Qualified exactly where he should be. So the same as Alonso. However, in the race, he's... Actually, I'm going to give him an 8. I'm going to give him an 8. You guys might not agree, but I think that's an 8 performance. He's done exactly what he should. He's obliterated his teammate 34 seconds on race pace. He's finished 1 second behind Bortoleto, who was flying in the Audi, and 2 seconds behind Arvid, who was flying in the VCARB. I actually think Gasly's had a really good race, and, you know, given different circumstances, maybe he could have gotten points, but I don't think he should have ever have gotten points. So I think 8's very fair. I forgot to mention earlier, but I got some Turbo Chrome car. Oh, nice. Who did you get? He was quick. I think I'll give Hulkenberg 9. Did Maxim be good in Alpine? Yeah. I think 8 is very fair. Stroll rated above 7 before GTA 6. Can't believe I put him in fantasy and actually work. Well, you put Stroll in your fantasy? What? Majority gets 7. I think if we're going to rate Stroll and Alonso 7s, I think Gasly's got to at least be an 8, man. But yeah. Next up, we have got Gabby Bortoleto. What do you rate Bortoleto's weekend out of 10? So Bortoleto had a bit of a weird weekend. So in quali, he got out-qualified by his teammate by 5/10. Hulkenberg made Q3. Bortoleto went out in Q2. He also got out-qualified by Franco and Gasly, who I don't think he should have been out-qualified by. And he got out-qualified by Liam, who Hulkenberg out-qualified. And then in the race, he was in the mix for points. He obviously beat Alpines, but in the group where he should have been, the VCARB and his teammate, he finished worse of the 4. He couldn't overtake Lindblad, who was on very used hards or a different strategy. He had Gasly catch up behind him, and he finished 20 seconds behind his teammate, and didn't get points in the end. To be honest, I actually think Bortoleto's had a very, very average weekend. I think I'm going to go 5.5 just because, like, at the end of the day, he's still finished where he should be. But I think when you're finishing 6/10 off in qualifying, and then finishing 20 seconds off your teammate in the race, not getting points, I don't know. I think it's a pretty average weekend from Bortoleto. It's almost like as average as you can get. Mid weekend, Hulk in Q3, no points in the race. He had some serious blue flag moment. Yeah, true. And the blocking as well. Dana, thank you so much for the follow. Bortoleto was blocking Antonelli and Hamilton. Yeah, we won't demote him down for that, but it was dumb. Majority of you guys saying 6 for Bortoleto. I do think that's a little bit too high, but anyways. Next up, we've got Arvid Lindblad. Oh, are we on the points finishes now? Yes, we're on to the points finishes now. Arvid Lindblad. What do you rate Arvid out of 10? So Arvid, I think, has had a really good weekend. P9 in qualifying, best of the rest. Only 4/10 off of Isaac Hadjar, beating Hulkenberg by 4/10 and out-qualifying his teammate by 4/10. Amazing. 4/10 off the big dogs, 4/10 ahead of his teammate and the guy behind him. Yeah, absolutely amazing quali. I would say a 10 out of 10 quali, to be honest. Then, in the race, he lost the position to Liam straight away, so definitely needs to improve on his race starts for that not to happen. Went on a bit of a different strategy. I thought he was on the better strategy, but now looking back, I think he was on the worst strategy. So to have hung on to the point over Bortoleto, I actually think he's done a good job, even though it looks disappointing finishing 20 seconds or 22 seconds behind Liam. and finishing behind Hulk. I still think he's done a really good job to hang on to points given his situation. So yeah, I think he's had a good weekend. I think, again, better outcome. Obviously, the drivers play a part in the strategy, so a better outcome would have been to have beaten Hulkenberg and to have beaten Liam. But yeah, I think that's a solid 7.5, to be honest. Like, quality definitely bumps it up. His race pace definitely bumps it up, but I think the strategy is what let him down, and losing the place off the start let him down. So yeah, I feel like it's a 7.5 for Arvid. Solbit needs to cheer up. He went backwards in the race though. Yeah, but also it was mainly because he got overtaken on the first lap. But yeah, I still think it's 7.5. It's still a solid weekend in terms of performance. Yeah. Majority guys saying 7 as well. Then we move on to Nico Hulkenberg. I believe first points of the season. All right. Poll is up for Hulkenberg. Get your votes in on the poll. So, Hulkenberg in qualifying, qualified P10. He was 4 tenths behind Arvid, but ignoring that, he beat Liam, who I don't think he should have been beating, and he beat Bortoletto by 5 tenths. He also outqualified the Alpine boys, which I think was expected. But yeah, making Q3, great stuff. Yeah, I'd say a solid 9.5 for quali. Only thing he could have done better on quali was get closer to Arvid, but that's about it. And then in the race, finished in P9. Again, had to come through the past Arvid. Arvid on a bit of a whack strategy. Finished 20 seconds ahead of his teammate. I think the only thing for Hulk is he didn't get Liam. Liam was on a fuck strategy as well, in my opinion. I think Hulkenberg did have the opportunity to get Liam, but didn't. But I think overall, very solid weekend for Hulk. I think I'm going to give him a 9. I think, yeah, qualifying, like I said, 9.5. I think the only thing he could have done different was maybe knock 0.5 off for quali because he should have been closer to Arvid. And then in the race, I mean, there was the potential to beat Liam. But other than that, I think it's a very solid weekend for Hulk. Very solid 9. Very, very solid 9. Yeah, that's his first points of the season. Yeah, good stuff. Good quality, great race. Great in the race pace. I agree. Majority guys saying 9 for Hulkenberg. And then we move on to best of the rest. Once again, my man, Liam Lawson. What do you rate Liam out of 10? So Liam in qualifying was a little bit disappointing. He got out-qualified by Hulkenberg by 1/10. He missed out on Q3. And he got out-qualified by Arvid by 4 tenths. So at the end of the day, he's still qualified around where he should be. But yeah, being out-qualified by your teammate by 4 tenths and 1/10 off of Hulk isn't great. But he did out-qualify Bortoletto by 4 tenths. So again, it's not the end of the world, but quality definitely could have been better. And then in the race, he got past Arvid straight away, which for his own doing is amazing. Went on a really fucked strategy, somehow made it work, and finished ahead of Hulk, and got past his teammate to finish best of the rest in P8. So very solid weekend. I'm torn if it should be a 9 or an 8.5. I feel like to be rated the same as Hulk when Hulk beat his teammate in both sessions, and I do think the V car was better. I think it's an 8.5 for Liam. I do think Hulk had a better weekend. Like, yeah, Hulk out-qualified Liam. Hulk had a worse car, and then he just finished behind Liam. Yeah, I think it's an 8.5 for Liam. I think it's an 8.5. Quality needs to be improved on, but his race was amazing in the end. So, yeah, 8.5 for Liam. Again, I don't think it should have been that close for him with Hulk. Yeah. You can't be out-qualified for 9. Yeah, I agree. Maybe some people don't like my ratings and how like qualifying gets taken into account, but like I don't know. I think quality pace is important when looking at someone's performance. Majority guys said 9. I'm not mad about that, but yeah. Okay, next up we've got George Russell. Now this is gonna be a hard one to rate because he did have a poor start. Has it been confirmed what happened on the start? Because when we were rating Max, when we were rating Hadjo, when we were rating Kimi Antonelli at the start of the season, we were not rating them based off of their race starts. We agreed that the race starts were the car's fault. So was it Russell's fault or was it the car's fault? Wasn't it anti-stall? Yeah, but you can anti-stall yourself by releasing the clutch wrong. So do we know yet what it was? Sorry, one sec, guys. He's in control. He must have made a mistake. Yes, but it was his fault on the clutch. listen to post-race radio on YouTube. Don't forget Arvid missed FP3, and they said it's his fault in the cooldown room. Interesting. Okay, well, in that case, Russell making a mistake off the start. Well, actually, let's talk about quali first. Quali got out-qualified by his teammate by 3/10. Now, yes, he did get impeded by Max with the yellow flags, and he was improving, but Kimi also got impeded, and Russell finished 3/10 down on Kimi. What was I going to say? Yeah, so you got out-qualified by Max, which, again, bank lap should have been better. But it's not his fault. He got impeded by Max, so couldn't beat Max. He also got qualified by Piastri by 1/10. Piastri also got impeded. So again, it came down to bank collapse for all these guys. He got qualified by his teammate by 3/10. Again, got impeded. So it came down to bank collapse. Then 3/10 off of Charles, 3/10 off of 5/10 off of Lewis. Again, they didn't improve on their final lap. So again, way off on the bank collapse. It's only really Lando that you can, like, not really compare to, because Lando got a final lap in, and he was 5/10 off. So, yeah, he out-qualified Hadja. That's about it. Other than that, really poor qualifying from Russell. And then moving into the race, you know, mistake off the race start. Managed to come through the field decently well, but honestly, I think he didn't come through the field as quick as I would have liked. He ended up finishing 30 seconds behind Antonelli and finishing 2 seconds behind Hadja. I think a good recovery drive would have been beating Hadja, given how Hadja's race went. But yeah, I think it was a very, very, very average weekend for Russell. I don't think he really did anything wrong, necessarily. But it was just, like, weaker pace than his teammate, got fucked over in quali. And then weaker pace than his teammate and made a mistake off the start. Maybe, if we're blaming Russell for the incident off the start, I think it maybe has to be a 4. Like, finishing in P7 while your teammate's up on the podium, that's a yikes. That's a yikes. Maybe a 3 is a harsh, but whoa, you're giving him 6? Why a 6? And they said it was his fault. Don't forget Arvid missed FP3. I'd give Lawson half a point less. Yeah, true. He's in control. He must have made a mistake. Didn't Toto apologize for the issues? He said in Q3, second lap, water was leaking on his tires. It was a great recovery. Yeah, I think well, no, he got impeded, which is not his fault. Keep it a guess on the cooldown review would actually know. Engine was cracked too, wasn't it? Scar broke down in qualifying as well. Yeah, but that he already got impeded, but at that point it was already done. He did come through the field. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it is a 6 then. I can't go higher than a 6, man. You're getting out qualified by your teammate. Again, everyone's bank collapse was what matters. And then the race that you're making the mistake with the clutch. Tony came out and said it was a team mistake for the start. I don't know. I'm still going to go 6. I just don't think his pace was there, man. I don't think his pace was there regardless. Majority of you guys saying 6 as well. I hate when there's so many variables. This year, man, ratings is just so hard. There's so many variables and shit. It's annoying. So annoying. 6 is too high now. Well, majority of you guys said 6. Yeah, maybe it is a 5, bro. Yeah, I'm gonna go 5 actually. It's a bang average weekend for that man, even given his issues. All right, next up we got Isaac Hadja. What do you rate Hadja's weekend out of 10? Hadja in qualifying got out qualified by Russell. So what happened to Hadja? Did he get impeded by Max? Haitian Sniper, name of the follow. What happened to Hadja in quali? Or was he just poo? What actually happened to Hadja in quali? Did he get impeded? No, he spun in Q2. Wait, I need to open up the quali highlights. I actually don't know where Hadja came out because they just don't show him on the broadcast. I need like a mini map. I actually don't know where Hadja came out. I don't know if he got impeded by Max. I don't know if he made a mistake. I don't know if he just didn't improve because the track evo. It's kind of hard to tell. Anyways, in qualifying, he got out qualified by Russell. Let's assume that he got impeded because I think that's what happened. Given where they probably he would have came out with Max. His banker lap, he was 1/10 off of Russell, who was slow. 1/10 of his teammate, which is good given Hadge's standards, but still behind his teammate. As per usual, I think Hadge's had a good weekend for a second Red Bull driver. But, like, we rate him as a driver, not the Red Bull situation. So he's done good being 1/10 off Max, but still, 1/10 behind Max. 2/10 behind Piastri, who got impeded. 3/10 behind Antonelli, who got impeded, and then 3/10 behind Charles, 5/10 behind Hamilton, or 6/10 behind Hamilton, and then 6/10 off of pole. So again, even Red Bull standards, I think it's good. Given overall standards, like he's worse with the top guys. Yeah, not great. Then in the race, he finished in P6. He only finished 2 seconds ahead of Russell. And Russell was at the back of the grid. So I think Hadge's race pace really slacked. He finished 40 seconds behind his teammate. Now, do remember, obviously do keep in mind Max benefited from the VSC, but still 40 seconds is insane. He finished 30 seconds of the car in front. Now, he did do an amazing job of holding up the guys for Max, but I don't think that's 40 seconds worth of time. The fact that Russell almost came through the entire field and passed him is pretty bad. So, yeah, I know it's a hard one. I think if I was rating this based off of, like, Red Bull second driver, I think this is a solid, like, 8 or 7 for Hadja. You know, at the end of the day, he's qualified close to Max, and then in the race, he's helped Max and got him points. I think it's like a solid 8 for a Red Bull driver. But for a normal driver, you're a 10th off your teammate. You're worse to the top qualifiers. I mean, that car was poor in quality, to be fair. And then you almost got beaten by a man who was at the back of the grid. It wasn't a bad weekend for Hadja. I'm thinking like a 6. I'm thinking like a 6. Yeah. Yeah. Hadja was lacking on race pace. The real highlight was holding up the drivers to Max. Yeah, worst the best all you could expect from Hadja. Only positives finishing ahead of Russell. Beyond that, he was only good enough to play defense for Max. Yeah. He did not get impeded by Max in Q3. Wow, too confusing. Is 6 too high? Majority of you guys saying 7, so I guess not. I'll keep it at a 6. Too hard, man. Bro was never on fucking camera either. Well, actually he was. Next up, Lewis Hamilton. Get votes another poll. So, Lewis, in qualifying, out-qualified his teammate by 2/10 and was only milliseconds off of pole. But the team decided to send him out first and have no track evo for his final run. So I actually think Lewis had a really good qualifying. 2/10 ahead of his teammate, milliseconds off of pole without track evo. I think he's done great. He's also out-qualified Antonelli and Russell. They got impeded though, keep in mind, on their final laps. But again, off of the bankers that everyone did, he out-qualified Kimi, Piastri, Max, Russell, and Hadja. So good stuff from Hamilton. Then in the race, what even happened in the race now? Did he get overtaken by Matt? Oh, impeded Piastri, gave himself a 3-place grid penalty, so making it hard for himself. And then did he get past? Wait. Then did he get past? So starting grid. Yeah, so he started behind Max, started behind Charles. And then didn't he get past Charles straight away? Yeah, he would have. I can't even look because in the highlights it jumps to him. Yeah, so he got past Charles. So, yeah, at the end of the day, really good qualifying. Ruined it by giving himself a penalty. Yes, obviously his engineer probably should have said, been a bit more clear with him, but his engineer did say Piastri is coming. Piastri is coming. Even though it was confusing. And then, yeah, race start. Got past Charles, which is good. Was right on the back of Max. Went for the undercut. Did a really good undercut. And then just left the door completely open for Max to get past. And then, what even happened after that? Pooh strap from Ferrari. Was better than Leclerc on race pace the whole weekend. Max benefited from the VSC. Lewis had to get the place back because of the line, and then gave himself a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Bruh, I don't even know what to rate him, bro. I mean, he beat his teammate in both sessions. Well, actually, no, he didn't beat Leclerc in the race because he got a pen. But his pace was better in both sessions over Leclerc. But then, mistake in quali cost him. Mistake in race cost him. And then opening the door for Max. He just needs to tidy it up. He needs to tidy it up. Aaron, what is up, dude? Jakku as well, welcome, welcome. Yeah, he would have finished P4, but the Pen got him 5th. Fries were on shit self-strat, managed to get ahead of Max from the pit stop and get overtaken. If y'all give Lewis a 4 and 5, I wonder what you'll give Leclerc. Yeah. Hallucination and Aaron, thank you guys for the follows. Aaron. Aaron? Would have been a 7 and 8 if not giving himself pens. Yeah, okay, let's do it this way. What would have he gotten pace-wise? P2 in quali, beating his teammate by 2/10. Solid. And then race pace, finished P4. Got a bit fucked by the VSC for Max. Kimmy getting back past. Bit of a whack strategy. Yeah, it'd probably be like an 8. It'd probably be like an 8. But then, blocking and qualifying, you gotta demote down to like a 7 for that. But then he made himself up for it in the race by getting past straight away. But then made another mistake by speeding in the pit lane. And then also made a mistake by leaving the door open for Max. I feel like it's a 6. I feel like it's a 5 or a 6. I feel like it's going to be a 6. Core is too good. Does it deserve a 5? Could have been on podium without impeding its speed limit. Yeah, maybe we'll do 6. Like, solid pace, but the mistakes costing him. Maybe 6 is too high. What do I give Russell? I don't know. We'll go 6. We'll go 6 for Lewis. And then we move on to his teammate, Charles Leclerc. What do you rate Charles out of 10? It's so hard to rate, bro. So Charles got out-qualified by his teammate by 2/10. He did out-qualify Kimi, Piastri, Verstappen, and Russell, and Hedger. Again, all getting impeded. But the bank collapse is what mattered in the end, and he was 2/10 off of pole. And then in the race, he got overtaken by his teammate straight off rip. Had way worse race pace than Hamilton, and end up being behind Hamilton at the end of the race, only jumping him because of a penalty. I mean, at the end of the day, he still got a P4. But yeah, you know, the pace wasn't there in both the race and quali. So yeah, I think if we're giving Lewis an 8 but bumping him down to 6 for the mistakes, I think we've got to give Leclerc like around the same, because like, again, he beat Lewis. Does that make sense? Like, Lewis is here, but we're bumping him down to here because of the mistakes, whereas Leclerc's here and then he doesn't move up anything because he's just there because he finished ahead. So he started second, got overtaken by Max and Lewis. True. I think it's a 5.5. I think it's the same rating as Lewis, to be honest. I think it's the same rating as Lewis. Lewis was quicker, but too many mistakes. Leclerc was slower, but then I guess he lost the shit off the start. I think it's a 5.5. Five Brothers race pace was shit. I mean, he still finished P4 though, man. He still finished P4 though. Got 4th because of Lewis's pen. Yo, I'm back. Who remembers that F1 Williams pop-up in Manchester a few weeks back when it turns out I won some Williams merch? Nice. Can't be too positive with Charles, but he just sunk in the start and didn't really have the pace on Lewis. There were a lot of Ferrari issues with the strat. Banking points for Ferrari. But you have to take into account how he beat Lewis. I mean, he finished ahead of Lewis because of Lewis's mistakes. I'm going to go 5.5. I'm going to go 5.5. Still going to rate higher because Lewis had a better performance. But in both sessions, if it wasn't for, if the Leclerc didn't lose the 2 positions off the start, I'd rate him the same as Lewis. Yeah. So 5.5 for Charles. Is it weird though rating? Am I just getting hated on by the Lewis fans in chat? Should Charles be rated lower than Lewis? I feel like that doesn't make sense. Charles finished ahead because of Lewis's own fault. Maybe I think you got to rate them the same. Such a frustrating weekend. The clouds are nowhere, no pace at all. Yeah, but he still beat Lewis because of Lewis's own doing. But actually, no, but to be fair, Lewis shouldn't have been on Leclerc anyway because Leclerc started ahead, so. Yeah, we'll keep it at 5.5. Lower than Lewis. Alright, we move on to the podium now. What do you rate Kimi's weekend out of 10? So Kimmy, in qualifying, he qualified P4. He got out-qualified by Charles and then Lewis by 2/10. He didn't have a shot at pole because of getting impeded by Max, but I don't think he would have got it anyway. I think the best he probably would have got was P3. He did out-qualify his teammate by 3/10. He also out-qualified Piastri and Max. It's kind of nice, even though everyone got impeded, or people got impeded, like, we can kind of base it off the banker laps other than Lando's. So, yeah, I think Kimmy's actually had a decent quali. I mean, I don't think that car was capable of pole, and he was kind of robbed of beating the Ferraris. I think P3 was probably where he would have been. So, yeah, decent quali, I think, for Kimmy relative to his teammate. And then in the race, well, he got a pen for not lifting, so we're going to demote some points down for that. He ended up starting in P7, and then on the race start, he managed to... What did he do off the race start? Race start, he managed to move up one position. No, he didn't. He just held put. But yeah, I think Kimmy's race pace was really, really good. He ended up finishing in P3. Yeah, beating Charles, whose pace was poo. Beating Lewis, who was making mistakes. Obviously, his teammate having issues, finished 40 seconds ahead of him. And only finished 3 seconds behind Max in the end. So I actually think Kimmy's had a good weekend. I think it was mainly just, I don't know. I think he drove the car how it should, to be honest. I feel like it's a 7.5. I don't know. Can't give Max more than a 7.2. Kimmy, do you even lift, bro? Antonelli, maximize the car, to be honest. Had a good idea for strategy, but Deg didn't go his way. It's a Mercedes, bro. Would have caught Max about the back markers trolling. Yeah, true. Whatever. At the end of the day, he did have pace. He was only 4.5 behind. Could have been P2 if Merck didn't ask him to pit. Yeah. I don't know, a bit of a weird weekend. A bit of a weird weekend for Antonelli. Like, his banker lap should have been better. But then again, he didn't get a chance on the final lap because of getting impeded. So... I think 7.5 sounds right. Is that or an 8? Like, he had a good weekend. I guess he got a podium. Nah, I think it's got to be an 8. I think it's got to be an 8. He finished on the podium at the end of the day. Yeah, I think a podium. I think Ferrari should have beaten him. Given the circumstances, I think Ferrari should have beaten him. I mean, he got lucky with Piastri beating him. I don't think Max should have beaten him. Yeah, he did get the penalty in quali. Did he get penalty in the race? No. I guess you could argue if he didn't... No, I'm going to keep it at 7.5 because if he didn't... If he had lifted, I think he would have finished P2. And maybe, given how the McLarens were racing each other, could have gone for the win. I'm going to 7.5. Majority of guys saying 7 and 8, so we agree on that. Next up, we've got Max Verstappen. I don't even know what I'm going to rate Max. What do you rate Max out of 10? So Max in qualified P6. Now, here's the one that caused the issue for everyone to get impeded. He spun. That car obviously isn't great, but he still did spin. Needs to drive the car to the conditions. Out-qualified Hadja by 1/10, so like typical standard. He out-qualified Hadja, which is good. Which is what you want to do. But also... only 1/10 on your Red Bull teammate. We're kind of used to more than that. Anyways, bank collapse. He out-qualified Russell and Hadja, but he was behind Piastri, which I don't think is good. 3/10 down on Kimi, 3/10 down on Charles, 5/10 off of Lewis, 5/10 off of Paul. I don't know. I think that's where the Red Bull probably should have been. It's just the spin that kind of lets me down. Then in the race, I think he's had a really good race. Got him past Charles and Lewis. Got him past Charles straight away. And then defended Lewis really, really well. Put some pressure on the McLarens as well at the start. Got undercut by Ferrari, yet went for an amazing move to get back past Lewis. Race pace was really good. He got obviously a bit lucky with the VSC, but made it work and finished P2, holding off Kimi Antonelli. But he put it like that. I think he's actually had a really good weekend. It's just the quali spin that lets him down. So, yeah. I don't know. I feel like that feels like an 8.5 to me. What do we get Kimi again? Camille's saying, what does that do on the stream? Some of you, Dark War Mac. Morning, guys. They only gave Kimi the pen because of Russell's backlash in Austria. 8 because of the overtake on Lewis alone. Other than that, I don't know how he got P2. Max had a driver error in quali. Race was great. Maximized the results. Spin bad. I mean, yeah, the spin's bad in quali, but he did recover at the end of the day to P2. So, Kim was 7.5. Yeah, I think 8.5 is fair. I think Max... I mean, Max was worse than Kimmy in quali pace, but Kimmy made the mistake, which I guess was caused by Max. But and then Max managed to recover to P2. Kimmy didn't, and Max was in a worse car. Yeah, I think 8.5 makes sense. I think you knock off 1 for the spin in quali, and then I don't know, 0.5, I guess, because the race wasn't anything crazy. It was just a really good race from Matt. Yeah, we value quality always, but the race holding more weight at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean 8.5 is fair. I think 8.5 fair. I think I'm getting too caught up with the whole spin. Like, at the end of the day, recovered and finished P2. I guess we'll spend... I don't know. Max's pace in the race pace was a bit weak, though. But then again, so was Hedges, so... I don't know. I feel like maybe it could be a 9. I don't know. I feel like it should be a 9 at the same time. Like, P2 in that Red Bull... But then again, he benefited from the VSC. I don't know. Big Ricky, what is up, dude? On the stream. Dark Warmick. Name of the follow, dude. I think 8.5 feels about right. We'll go 8.5. If he didn't benefit from the VSC and finish P2, I think that's a solid 9 and higher. All right. We move on to our final driver. It is Lando Norris. What do you rate Lando's weekend out of 10? So, Lando in quali qualified on pole. Now, he made a mistake. I am going to be critical. Right? He made a mistake on his bank lap. However, on his final lap, he strung it together and edged Lewis. The Ferraris, man. The Ferraris went out too early. So we'll never know their true pace, or specifically Lewis's true pace. But at the end of the day, he got the lap in when he needed to and got pole. He outqualified his teammate by 4 tenths, but Piastri got impeded. Kimi got impeded, but I don't think Kimi would have beat him anyway. Max obviously spun, and then Russell got impeded. So the day, his pole is great. I'm not taking anything away from Lando. Like his pole is great, but like, let's not sit here and pretend like it was the most fair pole where he 100% got that. At the end of the day, the Ferraris were dumb and went out first, and Kimi and Russell just weren't in the fight at all. And neither was Piastri. I don't think Piastri would have beaten him, but who knows? We'll never know. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, great pole, but like, you still got to remember, like, it wasn't a pole with everyone competing. Then he head into the race and he loses the position off the start, which is another mistake for Lando off these race starts. And yeah, just got stuck behind Piastri the whole time. You know, we've spoken about it the whole review stream today. But like, you can't take away what happened to Lando. You can't take away what happened to Lando. You can't take away what happened to Piastri because Lando's pace. Because at the end of the day, at a track like Budapest, at a track like Monaco, your goal is to qualify on pole and hold the lead. He qualified on pole, but he didn't hold the lead. And if there's a world where he doesn't win that Grand Prix because of it. And, you know, at the end of the day, that mistake on the first lap is what is going to cost you the win. At the end of the day, motorsport's motorsport, and Piastri ended up getting impeded. And Piastri ended up getting impeded, and Lando was able to take the lead. Now, would have he taken the lead off of pace? That's the thing. We'll never know, because Sainz is a fucking idiot. But I think I don't know. I really think they come out next to each other. And Lando has done an amazing job on overcutting Piastri to put himself in that position, because the undercut in Hungary is insane. But at the same time, Piastri might have came out in front and held on to the lead. We'll never know. And at the end of the day, Lando was stuck behind Piastri for 40 laps. Yes, he had better pace, but Formula 1 isn't just about pace. It's about defending, it's about attacking, it's about strategy. And if you get stuck behind someone for 40 laps, it doesn't matter how good your pace is. There is a reason you're behind. Maybe you qualified worse. In Lando's case, no. Maybe you had a bad race start. In this case, yes, for Lando. Maybe you're bad at attacking. We don't know. But end of the day, he was stuck behind for 40 laps, and he was not gifted, but he was given the opportunity to show his pace. And he did. He did exactly that. He absolutely flew, overcut, got Piastri, and pulled off 15 seconds into the distance over Max. Well, actually, 15 seconds over Piastri at one point. And his pace was absolutely insane. So, I am going to give Lando a 9. But I don't think it's a 10 weekend. I think, again, qualifying is very, not up in the air, but it's very, well, we didn't get to see Kimi's lap. We didn't get to see Lewis's lap on the proper track because Ferrari are fucking stupid. And we didn't get to see Piastri's lap as well. And then when it comes to the race, like, again, if it wasn't for Piastri being unlucky, I think there's a world where Lando doesn't win that Grand Prix because he makes the mistake off the start. And making a mistake like that off the start at a track like Hungary is going to cost you the win. And he's lucky that Piastri got unlucky because Piastri did no wrong at the end of the day. Piastri got fucked by Sainz and Piastri then had his engine blow up. Whereas Lando didn't get unlucky. He made the mistake. So it's not a perfect 10 weekend for me. It's a 9. Like, look, race pace, it's a 10. His race pace was fucking insane. But it's not a 10 weekend. Let's be real. Let's be real. Such bias. Lando had 2 laps in Q3, and his first one earlier was already close to pole anyway. No, for sure, for sure. But I'm saying, like, my point is like, a perfect weekend. 10 is a perfect weekend. And Lando didn't have a perfect weekend. 5 drivers didn't get their final laps in quali. 2 of them went out too early because of their team. Lando was kind of the only one really competing for pole at the end of the day. And then in the race, making that mistake, I mean, it would have cost him the win if Piastri hadn't got unlucky. His race pace was really, really good, though. Again, 10 for race pace, but there's more to a F1 race than just pace. And I think people get really confused about that sometimes. Yeah, so, yeah. I mean, you can look at it both ways. You could look at it like, well, Lando had the opportunity to get the lead back after his mistake off the start. But, like, I don't know. I just think that's too big of a mistake to make it a track like Budapest. And to be stuck behind Piastri for 40 laps, like, I don't know. I think 9 is fair, in my opinion. I wasn't, like, again, I said it all review. I said it all weekend. Lando's had a great weekend. I think he's on for the championship now. It's such a shame he got unlucky at the start of the year, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's a 10 weekend. Like, holy fuck, let's be real. That's just taken away from other people's 10s. McLaren let them split strategies, would have had a great race. Well, that's the other thing, right? Is like, if Lando, this is the other thing. If Lando was in his own race, right, against a driver that was Piastri, he would have 100% overcut him, undercut him. But given his position at McLaren, given the way McLaren deal with things, you need to out-qualify your teammate and you need to out-race pace them at a track like this. Any other track, this is a 9.5 for Lando. I still wouldn't give Lando a 10 for this weekend, just given everyone else got fucked. And he didn't really have any competition. But yeah, it's a 9 because, like, at the end of the day, at this track, you need to be ahead. Can judge Lando on what he did while behind Oscar, which was literally nothing. Yeah, he didn't even get close to Piastri. Did he even go for a single overtake on Piastri? Oh, but dirty, yeah. Well, why was everyone else overtaking that? 2 hours Piastri should have never been ahead of Lando when Lando came out. 10, I can't believe this is even a discussion. Easy 10, stop using Lando hate for bias. This guy keeps saying bias. Is this your new buzzword? You don't even know what bias means. First lap mistake cost some ratings, I'd say. Easiest 10 ever. That race pace, bro. Yeah, there's more to the race than just race pace. If McLaren let them split strategies, would have had a great race. Hope they let them do that in the future. Oh, 100%, man. 100%. I mean, this whole conversation just stems from the fact that... This stems from 2 things. Lando losing a place off the start. Do not lose the place off the start at a track like this. And then you don't have to ask to get let by your team. And the other thing is, if McLaren just let them race and do their own strategies, Lando would have 100% dunked on Piastri. But he knows that he's not going to be favored by McLaren. So don't lose the lead. And McLaren let them... I read that. Sainz fucked Oscar so much. Yeah, I honestly ruined the race, man. Because like, now we're sitting here doing what if. Lando would have overcut Piastri after the first stop. Would have. I can't believe Ponden won't dish out a 10. That's not a 10. Same rating as Max, really? It wasn't a perfect weekend, man. Just give him the score already. Now Ferrari fuck Lewis. If this was a Max weekend, you're giving it a 10. I mean, yeah, Max is in a fucking booty hole car. I think the thing is, I predicted Lando pole, and I predicted Lando race win. So the fact he wasn't winning for 40 laps of the race, I don't know. Maybe some of you guys are rating it a 10 because you didn't expect Lando to win, but literally in my F1 predict, I predicted Lando pole and I predicted Lando to win. So that's where I'm kind of like, for him to have not been winning for 40 laps, I did not expect that. I get not giving him a 10 because of the race, but qualifying and take is stupid. They all had an equal chance. I was a good Tony on the stream. I think 9.5 could be debated. I agree. His reaction to aircon in the cooldown room was hilarious. Speaking of, I need to fucking turn my aircon off. It's too cold now. Yeah, take this guy's mic away. I don't know. I don't know how you guys can. I don't know how you guys can give this man a 10 for losing a position off the start, being stuck behind your teammate for 40 laps. I'm not saying this, but being gifted the win because of Carlos Sainz and having half your competition eliminated in qualifying and sit here and say it was a perfect weekend. What did he prove? He proved he could get pole as the only driver on the warmest part of the track. And he proved his race pace was better than Piastri. What else did he prove? I know it sounds like I'm hating right now, but I'm genuinely curious what he proved this weekend. Now it makes sense because did he not run off the track while chasing Oscar as well? Without that, he would have had a good chance as well. Yeah, true. 9 is harsh. 9.5 at least for the one mistake. The other drivers not doing their final laps is not on him, nor should it affect his rating. Not gonna lie, you can downgrade Lando because of others not doing their job. They've given Kimi 9.52 when he had a perfect weekend for small mistakes when he was P1 in all seriousness. 9 is valid. The owl stop crying. 9.5 I think. 9 is very good. Give him a 9 for the race, but 10 for quali. The others messing up isn't on him. No, but my point is, you can still say Lando had a good quali, which he did, but I don't think his pace was amazing enough for pole. I think Lewis would have got pole if they had to send him out later. I think Kimi could have probably been a contender for pole as well. Yeah. If you had the pace you got to overtake, can't just sit there and ask for it. He literally made a mistake on his quali lap, guys. What are we talking about? Lando should have been more challenged by Lewis and Charles. Wait, if I'm not mistaken, wait. You guys are talking about Lando's Baker lap. He literally made a mistake on his banker lap and Lewis out-qualified him. What are we saying? No way he comes back in the championship right about 10 points. I fuck it, 100 points. I hope he does, bro. I hope Lando comes back. That'd be sick. I don't think you can take into account other people not getting quality laps in. That isn't his fault. I know it's not his fault, but like, he still barely scraped by and he was the only one that really did quality. His final is what I'm saying. Some people don't accept other people's opinions. You should know that by now. McLaren did give him the different strat though and pitted him anyways to get ahead of Oscar when Sainz collision happened. Lando would have came out ahead of Oscar in the first round of pit stops if his pit stop wasn't slow. Really? 9.5 for the poor first lap and needing Oscar to run into Sainz to get him past. 8.5 for Max and then 9 for Lando seems a bit weird though. The difference has to be bigger. I mean, he won Hungary. No, but the thing is, I think you guys are forgetting like the expectation. Like, the expectation for Lando this weekend was to win, in my opinion. And he got pole, and he wasn't winning for 40 laps. Max's expectation this weekend was P8. P7. And he finished P2. Most overtakes we saw were due to tire offsets and passes due to traffic. Honestly, 9 seems fair as a Lando fan. Now, the first stop, he was ahead, but a slow stop made him come out behind. If it was reversed, you'd be defending Oscar more when it comes to different strategy. It was a perfect weekend to give him a 10. Fair, the prediction is win. No, I need him to lead the whole time. Yes! To get a 10, you need to have a perfect race. And if you start on pole and you don't lead for 40 laps, how is that a perfect race? Are we trolling? It's not 10 for sure, but not 9. Not gonna lie, I don't remember the race. True. Gifted is crazy. I'm not saying he was gifted. I'm just saying he was gifted the opportunity. He was gifted the opportunity back. I'm not saying he was gifted the win. I'm saying he was gifted the opportunity back. There's a difference. There's a difference. He was not gifted the win because he had amazing pace and he deserved the win. But he was gifted the opportunity back to get ahead of Piastri. He did what he had to do and won. What happened to the others is out of control. Motherfuckers crying because it ain't a 10 is crazy. And the Fries got in the lap for quali as Kimi, so I don't understand why you're saying no one got their laps in. He was pole by 0.12, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. 0.012. By 9, you're saying he was as good as Hulkenberg this weekend. Yeah. Hulkenberg in the Audi outdrove Arvid and outdrove Bortoletto. Norris made a mistake, got outdriven by his teammate for 40 laps, and then won. You guys are forgetting the expectation. Lando's expectation this weekend was to win in that car. I don't know. Maybe you guys didn't expect Lando to win, but I had him winning from after FP3, before quali, after quali, before the race started, during the race. Love discussion happening right now, by the way. Happy to be able to catch the stream. Love that, Bean. Love that. I offset the lap 1 mistake with how much clear on pace he was. True. But also, wait, this is a genuine question. This is a genuine question. I'm not even trolling when I ask this. Some of you guys in chat were saying, how did Max get a 9 or whatever the fuck I rated Max, 8.5? How did Max get that when he was poo? But Lando finished 15 seconds ahead. I know 15 seconds is good, but like him and Piastri were like 10 seconds ahead of the whole pack. Was it the VSC that closed the gap? Yeah, but he's saying any world champion would try to make a move. Well, Lewis didn't on Max, so I don't know what he's on about. What? 10's of Brazil or Mexico 25. I agree, Booster. I agree. My only problem is this. If McLaren can clearly see that Lando is faster, you either let him fight or give them team orders to swap. Not to mention the team should be back in the champion anyway. Yeah. No, there was one point in the race where I was like, you not letting Lando through is going to cost you both places on Kimi. Whereas if you let Lando through, at worst, only Piastri gets overtaken. So yeah, I agree. Did Lando win? Yes or no? Yeah, Lando won. Papaya rules is bullshit for both drivers. I'd say 9.5, but everyone can have their own opinion. There's a VSC. Had an extra pit stop under VSC. Max. Oh, true. I forgot that extra pit stop. Yeah. There's Max 6 seconds ahead of 40 laps. Would you say the Ferrari and McLarens were faster car this weekend? McLaren. For sure. I don't think Lando would ever risk a Max on Lewis move on his teammate. You got to feel for Oscar, though. He did the job, the overtake on that one, yeah. I mean, Oscar was worse than Lando this weekend, 100%. But he did his job of getting past and just holding on. And the signs block fucked everything, man. The signs block fucked everything. It's a 9.5. Take it away 1 whole point for that one. Your takes are generally terrible. Wait, so my take is terrible that I'm giving him 0.5 lower than you. That's what the world's come to. Everyone in chat is mad at me because I'm giving him 0.5 lower than what you guys will. Yeah. Yeah. So bro just basically called his own take bad. because I rated him 0.5 lower. I'm hoping the day Papaya rules actually ruin one of them. Every time they in place Ferrari, Merc, and Max are not in the picture, so it's only between them. Lando's too cautious when it comes to his teammate, and I think that's due to the punishments from the team. I don't know. I don't know what Lando could have done that race to get past Piastri. I think it was just too hard of a track to get past, and that's why I'm like, you shouldn't make that mistake. I mean, only one McLaren was faster, but both Ferrari cars was faster, so I kind of feel Ferrari were faster. Wait. Only one McLaren was faster? Piastri was beating Ferraris the whole race. Lander's in an interview, wasn't allowed to attack. Satisfied. I don't know. I mean, I agree it's a 9.5. I agree it can be a 9.5, but hell no, it's not a 10, bro. Okay, let's redo the poll. Nine, 9.5, 10. Yeah. Wasn't Max and Lewis right behind, so wouldn't him trying to race Oscar make both of them lose time? Ferrari's softs were rapid though. Polls up. Tony. I think you did already then develop. Okay, so 4 of you in chat still think Lewis had Lando had a perfect weekend. Yeah. Mistake on banker lap. Pole by 12 milliseconds on a grid where everyone didn't get a lap in. And then lost a position off the start and didn't lead for 40 laps. Perfect weekend, guys. Perfect weekend. Okay, but anyways, the split between 9 and 9.5. 10 people saying 9. 22 saying 9.5. I don't think the banker lap should matter. Kimmy's banker lap was the only thing that mattered. George's banker lap was the only thing that mattered. Yes, Max spun on his last lap, but only his banker lap mattered. Only Hedges' banker lap mattered. Only Piastri's banker lap mattered. How did the banker laps not matter? He literally got out-qualified by Lewis on the banker laps. Banker laps legit matter. Yeah, when everyone gets impeded, it fucking matters. Hello? I'm a Lando fan, but that was about 10, bro. Damn, he's standing. This is real. Yeah. When I'm, you know, when I'm standing, I mean business. Anyways, look, I'm gonna stick to 9. Maybe I'll reflect back on this one day. Maybe I'll reflect back on this one day and be like, damn, I was harsh on Lando. But I think, oh, why does it say 99? He got an upgrade. Maybe I'll reflect on this one day. But I think at the end of the day, he made a mistake on his banker lap. He was the only one that got a lap time in on good track conditions without getting impeded on the final lap. He still got pole, but like there was no one else to compare him to, really. Lost the position off the start, didn't lead the race for 40 laps, and then was given the opportunity to win, not because of his doing, but because of something bad happening to someone else. And again, his race pace was amazing. And that's where I can understand where a 9.5 comes from, because his race pace was amazing. But like, if it wasn't for Piastri being unlucky, I think we sit here and give Lando a lower rating than a 9 because Piastri's won. And I know there's probably people in chat who are like, oh, Lando would have overcut him, or Lando would have got overtaken him. But do we know that? Like, 40 laps went by and Piastri was comfortably leading despite being slow. We do a mid-season. Yeah, we're going to do mid-season drive rankings at some point. I mean, Fry's got a second lap as well. Them not improving was their fault. No, I agree. What did Oscar get? I missed his rating. I think we gave Oscar a 7. Lando would have had a tire offset, though. We don't, because he won. I'm keeping a 9. Suck it up. It's the comments like you're a Lando hater that annoy me because I've been sitting here this whole season saying Lando's top 3 drivers this season. Like he's been on it, and then I give him 0.5 lower than he should be. Oh, I'm a hater. Oh, I'm hating. Shut up. Anyways, that was a good driver rating session. We spent like 20 minutes on Lando. That was good. Anyways, guys, thank you all for tuning on in for the driver rating. So, top ratings on the weekend. Lando, Hulkenberg, and Liam, I think. And Max, I think. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to follow down below. We do drive ratings every single Monday after every single Grand Prix, so join us for the next one. If you watch on YouTube, come join us on Twitch. There on Twitch is where you can rate the drivers on the poll, so be sure to join us there for next time. But YouTube, I'm going to end the stream there. We might stay live on Twitch for a little bit, so come join us. Otherwise, be sure to subscribe down below. Be sure to like the stream. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.